Hey everyone, my name is Mary, and welcome to the Yankee Cryptid Podcast. This is part 3 of a 4-part series of all of the reports from BFRO.net from the Northeast region from the month of January. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy. Merrimack County, New Hampshire, January 2001. Couple hears late night scream in Loudon. Well, it was a few weeks ago in Loudon, New Hampshire. Me and my wife had just settled into the house, nestled next to a farm. It was nighttime, no real overcast or anything. From inside the house, we heard what we thought was barking constantly. We owned several dogs, so we were used to it. This continued for about an hour or two, then quieted down. Later on that evening, about 2 a.m. or so, we heard the most blood-curdling sound ever. The only way I can describe it is like about 20 dogs all screaming and yelping at once, in a shrill chorus scream. We haven't heard it again, but it came from across the farmer's field in the woods across from the speedway. I'd have to say the date was around January 10th or so. We have heard other things too and seen plenty of deer, but never heading across the field. We don't know what it was and did not see it at all. We have seen shadows move down the dirt road we live on, but figured it was just someone walking up the road. Maybe we're just paranoid, but I've lived in the woods here a long time and never heard anything like that before. Follow-up investigation report. I spoke with the witness by phone. The following details can be added to the report. The witness grew up in the woods and is experienced with forest animals and their sounds. The scream lasted for 2 to 3 seconds. The scream seemed to originate 200 yards away from the witness and his wife. The scream made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Everything got quiet afterwards, including the dogs. The witness didn't look for prints the next day because the scream came from his neighbor's property and he would have had to go across an electric fence to look. The dogs would not go outside for 2 weeks afterwards. The couple moved a few months later and never heard another scream. Orleans County, New York, January 2003. Husband and wife see animal near garbage dump. Hi. In the end of January 2003, my wife and I were spotlighting for deer and coyotes in Waterport, New York. We were driving my 4x4 truck through the apple orchards. The lane went through a large hedgerow with a small stream in it. When we got to the other side, we spotlighted along the woods. About 75 to 100 yards, there is an old spot where they used to dump garbage. There was something standing next to the old fridge. I have hunted these woods since I was a little boy and never seen anything like this. Its belly was about at the top of the almost 6-foot-tall fridge. I know it was an animal because its eyes reflected in the spotlight. It looked almost like a bear standing on its hind feet, but there are no bears in this part of the state. As we sat there trying to figure out what it was, it started to turn and walk into the woods. Since we didn't have any weapons on us, we just got the hell out of here. Follow-up investigation report. Spoke with the witness by telephone. He grew up in the area and knows it very well. He could not be specific as to dates, times, or weather conditions other than it was very cold night. It was cold enough to keep them in the truck instead of going outside to hunt coyotes. They only caught a glimpse of the creature for about 2 seconds. When he shined the light on it, it turned and walked into the woods. He described the creature as about 8 feet tall, possibly 9 feet, using the estimated height of an old refrigerator for scale. The body was covered with hair that appeared to be 2 or 3 inches long. He does not believe it was a bear because black bears are very rare for the area he hunts in. Also, a bear, even when standing on its hind legs, would not be as tall. The creature he saw had long legs, not the short legs of a bear. Other times when out hunting, he has heard odd vocalizations, somewhat like a coyote caught in a trap, but with more power. This past hunting season, he had seen eyes shine that he could not explain. It was located several feet off the ground next to a tree. The eyes were not in the tree, but appeared as if something was standing off to the side. The witness does believe he saw a Bigfoot. However, he is a bit puzzled. He has hunted the area since he was a boy and has never seen any tracks, especially in the winter with snow on the ground. He speculated that Bigfoot may attempt to cover their tracks by moving through heavy brush. Sussex County, Delaware, January 2004. Witness has late night sighting near Georgetown. I was coming home from a night class at Del Tech. I usually take a back road over to Route 9 to get home faster. So I left college and made my way home on my normal back road detour. I got through the first half of the twisted road and came up to a stop sign to turn right onto Asbury Road. As I did, I turned on my high beams. I came around a turn that leads to about a quarter mile or a little more stretch of road. About 3/4 of the way down the road, I could make out a standing figure next to a utility pole. So immediately I turned off my high beams, thinking it was a person because it was standing up. As I got closer to this being, I was taken aback by its size. I started to slow down, not knowing it, I guess because I was puzzled and curious. As I stared, I could make out its bottom side, broad shoulders, the fact that it was standing with its back to me looking into the woods, and hair that came to a point at the top of its head. This entire figure had a thick black cover of hair, with no hair on its hands. I could not see its feet. Standing next to a utility pole gave me some reference for height. I estimate that it was around 7 to 8 feet tall. I was almost past this creature when it looked at me and then looked back into the woods as if it didn't care I was there. Once I made eye contact, the hair on my arms stood up, and I peeled out of the location. I was confused as to what just happened because I couldn't believe what I had witnessed. It was also hard to comprehend that I've seen a Bigfoot, and I have seen something that doesn't exist. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, January 2006. Daylight sighting behind business near Allison Park. I was at work with my uncle. It's a family business, and it is located near the forest, with a huge open field across the creek. Anyways, we weren't very busy at work, so my uncle is walking around and looks out the back door. He stops and yelled to me, "Hey, come here!" So I run over to where he's standing, and I see this big black hairy thing running down the hill. It definitely wasn't a bear. A bear can't run down the hill on 2 feet. This thing was very big and hairy like an ape, and it moved very, very fast. Follow-up investigation report. I spoke to the witness on February 4th, 2006, and again on February 10th, 2006. He said he was about 200 feet from the animal. He thought the whole sighting was about 10 seconds. He told me that he saw a really big, black, hairy creature running on 2 legs and moving very fast. The hair was about 2 or 3 inches long. It seemed to him to be scared and running from a property nearby and back into the woods. The property is located in a pretty remote location, but there are 2 businesses in the area. The location has a lot of forests and hills with a creek running behind it. There are abandoned mines a couple hundred yards from the location. The witness is a hunter and has seen bears in the wild before. His uncle said he saw one moving through a thicket near the same location years before.